We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on the Miami Dolphins defense versus the Jets, and this team stepped up, the defense especially, to make the playoffs, beating the Jets. It was definitely a close one, closer than it probably should have been, but the defense played really well. They stepped up down in the red zone, giving up no touchdowns, holding the Jets to field goals. It was a pretty impressive play from them. I loved the effort they played with. Great play. Excited to see them play versus the Bills in the playoffs. Obviously, that game really will come down to if Tua plays or not. If Tua doesn't play, I don't like their chances. If Tua plays, though, I mean, those first two games kind of just coin flips, 50-50s. They really came down to the final play in both of them. So that game could go either way once Tua gets in the lineup. So really looking forward to that. Dolphins made the playoffs. Don't think Mike McDaniel's going to be getting fired, guys. He should never have been, even if they lost. But great job by this defense, especially stepping up. By the players, and even Josh Boyer deserves some credit for this one too. Just want to start off this play with Kohu up top versus Garrett Wilson. Kohu was great in this game. He had one defensive pass interference late, which was pretty bad, and it was kind of probably didn't even need to be called because the ball was uncatchable. But he had like 3 pass breakups in this game. Like early on, he was kind of shutting. Like Garrett Wilson had a great game, but all of his catches were against either Howard or Crossan or someone else. It wasn't against Kohu. Like, this is great technique. Look at him staying square. He's using a nice inch back technique, staying square, patient, and then once Wilson commits, he gets hands on, he goes to the inside, and he's able to just open up those hips, stay in phase perfectly, close the space, and make a play at the catch point. Kohu was amazing early on in this game. They went at him early and often, and then he made like 3 plays on the ball, and then I don't think they literally threw the ball his way until that one pass interference late in the game. The Dolphins defense really won this game by how good they were at stopping the run on first down. The Jets kept trying to run the ball on first down, and they kept getting negative yard loss, and when they would do that, it would put the Jets in a very tough position and allowed the Dolphins to just bring pressure. And Flacco actually played pretty good in this game. He was making a lot of throws under pressure. They would get to him very quickly, and he would make some throws, give his receivers some chances. But this is really where the Dolphins won this game. Early downs. Great job. Sealer was a menace in this game. They bring the run blitz too. And with Rowe blitzing off the edge like this, I loved the play calling with the blitzes. A lot of safety blitzes this game. They haven't been doing as many of these since Brandon Jones got hurt because he was by far the best blitzing safety on the team. But here, they bring Rowe off the edge, and when Rowe comes off the edge like this, and Sealer's able to just instantly win to the inside, he just feels this flow of the alignment and then splits them instantly, creates that penetration. He's just been dominant this year. Sealer, Wilkins, probably the best run D-tackle duo in the entire NFL. You get a negative 4-yard loss on first down like that. Now they're in a 3rd and 13 scenario 2 plays later. They bring the pressure. Jalen Phillips did a great job in this game. We'll watch Phillips he just kept using this speed to power move on this right tackle the entire game, and just look at this push that he was creating into this pocket on Flacco. He used the speed to power, get this guy to open up just enough to the inside, and then take that inside track to Flacco, force Flacco to get rid of this ball early, and he was just going to dump it off to the running back anyway, who would have been tackled. But Bradley Chubb actually dropped back into coverage on this one, so Chubb making a pretty good play in coverage, surprisingly, against Michael Carter. And just really great play from Phillips. Phillips was winning even when they weren't bringing like blitzing, bringing pressure, only bringing 4. Phillips was doing a great job in this game. Dolphins did drop to cover 3 a lot on third down in this game too. They were mixing it up whether they were blitzing or dropping into cover 3. And this is right here a big time. This is one of Crossan's best plays of the year. Like, Crossan usually is playing a lot of press man on this team, but this time you get to see him playing in the slot here, and he's a hook curl defender. And this is a nice little play, like just reading the QB's eyes. He reads Flacco, trying to throw this down to this, little hook to Garrett Wilson, like right at the sticks. Crossan with a great transition downhill, shows off that burst, and then hits him right before the first down. And, now it's a 4th and 1. They're inside, they're basically at the their own 20-yard line. They're not going to go for it. That's a huge time play by Crossan. Clean tackle, physical at the point of attack. Maybe, Crossan, maybe he's just a slot guy that's better in zone coverage. The team just hasn't had a chance to play him in this year. But then you get his first look, and that was by far the best rep I've seen out of him all season long. Like I said earlier, it all starts with the run defense, and Wilkins, every single game, he has multiple plays like this. He's been dominant all season long, and he just brings a different energy to this defense. Like, whenever they've needed a big-time play, like I'll show one later in the game, like Jets were driving, just had a big play, were going into the Dolphins' territory to possibly take the lead or tie the game up. And Wilkins steps up, makes a big negative run loss, and then the team follows behind him. But right here, he splits a gap, just allowing him to penetrate. Good job staying square here, ripping. He identifies the block, and the guy even basically hooks him, tackles him, and he's still able to just get that hand out, trip up the running back, because if he didn't, he had a nice little hole here. So really excellent play from Wilkins again. He's just been dominant as a run defender all season. Like I said, Kohu was excellent, especially early in this game. Garrett Wilson had a really good game versus the Dolphins, but when Kohu was up against him, he didn't get, I don't know if he had any catches. He had the one pass interference, but I don't know if he had any catches. Just great man technique here from Kohu. He does a great job just inching back. He stays square. He stays patient. Garrett Wilson is an excellent route runner. He's going to try to hip shift you, shake you, give you all these different looks. And then once he commits, Kohu able to get that right hand to the left shoulder pad, stays in position. Now he's able to close this space once he sees Wilson going up for the ball. Doesn't get over aggressive, tries to play through the hands. Would have taken a perfect throw and a perfect catch for that to be completed. Kohu playing excellent technique in this game, and it was really, really nice to see. He's just been such an excellent pickup. I think I had this argument with someone the other week about Kohu playing bad recently, and I just don't think I still think he's been by far the best corner on this team. Like, Howard struggled pretty heavily in this game until the last series. Kohu again at the bottom of the screen. After this play, they really stopped going after him. This time versus Corey Davis. Just excellent speed to close here. Great angle. Once he sees Corey Davis hard stick that left foot, he doesn't get moved by that at all. He stays square. He stays patient. Great technique. He shuffles over. He sees his tight end trying to pick him. He gets underneath that and then closes the space quickly. Gets that left arm hooked around the hip but doesn't move him. Then you play the hook and swat technique right at the catch point to get this pass deflection. Kohu absolutely dominating and also brings a nice energy to this defense. This next two-play sequence was probably the worst two plays the Dolphins defense had all game long. They get pressure on him from Jalen Phillips, makes a great play, and then they just get the dump off quickly. Like, look how quickly Phillips is able to create this pressure. They have a tight end to his side. He takes this wide rush. He beats this tight end very easily. You can't block Phillips with a tight end. Gets that inside track, and they just dump it off to the running back quickly. And we can go back to the other view just to see, like, I don't know what the defense is doing. They got to get downhill quickly here. Baker tries to just, like, break down and hold the outside. I understand this, but you got to close this gap. Like, no one else is in position. Holland's too deep from where he is. Riley doesn't have a chance. Baker has to be the first one to engage here, and he just waits and then uses, the running back has all this momentum, and all he needs is to get an extra yard as he hits Baker. Just poor effort by the defense, and then they kind of carry that into the next play. Then Garrett Wilson gets a huge time play off the slant. This was just timing off Flacco. He hits that back foot. They throw it against cover 3, hit this, open zone here. Wilson catches it and then makes 3 people miss at the point of attack. They just bounce off of him, makes people miss. Then some poor effort here. He slips underneath crossing, and people on the Dolphins defense are just taking each other out. So just don't really like that effort right there from the whole defense. Back-to-back plays. But they do step up and then only hold them to a field goal. So that was pretty good bounce back there from the Dolphins D. The Jets try to beat the pressure by getting a screen out to Carter to the opposite side of where he lines up. So nice little screen leak here. They bring the pressure, but Dolphins defense was playing so downhill, so aggressive. This is great work by Roberts. Pretty much, looks like he's man-to-man on Carter. They try to, have this bunch to this side, come over here, pick this, bring all the flow of the secondary away from where the screen is, but he's able to get through the receiver and just close instantly. Roberts has been playing better as of recently, making some big-time plays, especially downhill, making sacks. Right here, he's able to get out to this screen. Another time, they got pressure very quickly. Flacco forced to get this ball out probably quicker than he wanted to, and they do a real nice job making a play on this. Straight out of the second half, this time the Dolphins defense does a way better job of rallying to this ball, thrown underneath. Riley gets there, and everyone else helps out at the point of attack. Crossing Holland, he dumps it off to the tight end. It's a 3rd and 8 situation. They drop into cover 3 again. Holland drops down, becomes a buzz defender. They're running cover 3 buzz, He sees this opening right here. Everyone else is kind of dropped down near the, the first down marker. And once they see him release, Riley, great job of just squaring this up, holding him up just enough without letting him get his momentum to go forward. And then crossing Holland, great job of rallying. So much better getting that effort, because Crossan and Holland were involved on that other one earlier. Especially the big Garrett Wilson play, the play after, they were involved in some missed tackles running into their defenders, and they made up for it right there. The third quarter, there wasn't too much going on for the defense. Then we get into the fourth, where the defense was on the field quite a bit. They kind of dinked and dunked their way down to this part of the field. Another time they get inside the red zone. The field position battle was also not super great for the Dolphins, especially early on, so they had to beat field position too. If there's one thing you should give credit for in the offense this game, is the running game. They had great time of possession, and right here, just great play by Jalen Phillips. They get him lined up over a tight end. Love that they get him lined up directly over as this 6 tech right here, and they have him, in a 2-point stance. It allows him to just fire up this field. He knows once he sees the O lineman, their flow is instantly this way. He sees this tackle, first step to the left there, and he just explodes through this gap. You get him lined up in the right position pre-snap, and he's going to win this, get to the running back right as he basically gets the handoff, and then he gets a 2-yard loss, and you put yourself in such a better position to get this stop and hold him to a field goal. In the very next play, 2nd and 12, they bring pressure off the edge. They started bringing Holland on these safety blitzes where they would zone drop. They show that they're probably going to run their cover 0, cover 1 look here, and then they drop into a cover 3. But then they bring Holland off the edge, and the Jets just aren't prepared to pick it up. It just forces the ball to come out quickly. They did this twice in big-time situations. This makes it now a 3rd and 12 after this. I think they also get a false start. It becomes 3rd and 17, and then they just run the ball to pretty much take the field goal. They set this up really nice here, because look at the pressure they're showing to this edge. They have Chubb lined up pretty wide, and then the left tackle, eyes are to the inside, think he's going to get some pressure here. Chubb doesn't even really come, and he sees the safety too late, and he's basically forced to throw it away. This drive had me nervous here, because the Dolphins did give up some big-time plays with this right here. This is a 3rd and 9 situation, and they get this completion to Garrett Wilson. It was one of the only times Flacco really escaped the pocket. They got pressure on him quickly, they brought the blitz, but they just lost contain. It allowed Flacco to escape, and they kind of also get away with an offensive pass interference, because Wilson just chucks Howard out of the way, and then gets the completion right there. And then right after this, I'm pretty sure I'm going to show it, but I think it becomes the Kohou defensive pass interference. So big back-to-back plays, and at this point the game's tied, so it was pretty nerve-wracking to watch this one live. 2 plays later, Kohou finally lined up on Garrett Wilson again. He had been pretty good against Garrett Wilson early on, and then didn't see too much of him. They kind of, put him on Howard's side for the most part, and then he gets this pass interference. It was pretty unnecessary. Kohou didn't need to make the play, but it was also kind of a weak call. Right here, they get him in the stacked look, so Kohou can't press him. This time, he opens up the gate early. Usually, he stays square, he stays patient. Right here, he opens up the gate early and gives Wilson this inside track. He does a great job center field turning and recovering, because now he's still right back in great position. So he recovers really well initially, and then once he thinks he's in position, Wilson starts to float to the outside, because if this ball placement was where it was supposed to be, which was down the seam, Kohou was in perfect position, but basically because the ball placement was so far to the outside, he kind of goes, the receiver Wilson kind of goes through Kohou, and Kohou just hooks him a little bit, and then gets the PI call, even though that ball was pretty much uncatchable. So, a very questionable, iffy call, but definitely should not have, even put yourself into that position by Kohou to get the pass interference. Something this whole secondary needs to work on. You play a lot of press man in this defense, and a lot of times that can lead to pass interference calls, some holdings, because you're going to be very physical, and it's a very difficult ask to cover receivers in the NFL, and with only playing cover 1 a majority of the time. But after the next play, after the big pass interference, Wilkins comes out and gets a huge -yard loss. Look how hyped he is. He's getting the team hyped up. This is what he does every single time I've seen the Dolphins defense give up a big play. They get near midfield. They need to stop here. The game is tied, and Wilkins makes a huge run stop. They come out and their look right here. They get him lined up in a 4-eye look where he can shoot to the inside. He's 4-eye here, and usually he's beating tackles to the inside, but this time he sees the guard come out to block him, and he gets too wide. He sees the opportunity to shoot the A-gap, and he hits the club, the rip, and just beats this for another run stop. Wilkins, so good. Love the competitiveness he plays with. He has been, in my opinion, the most consistent player, the best player on this team all year. It's either between him or Tyreek Hill, but definitely the best player on the defense. It's been amazing how consistently dominant he's been versus the run. And then the safety blitz from Holland again off the edge. He comes in free. This time he sees, they try to, usually when you're bringing a blitz, they try to throw to a quick hot route. And his hot route is this flat to the running back. And you want to throw it usually to where the blitz is coming from. And Flacco does a good job reading this time and getting the ball out. But Holland gets his hand up to tip it, deflect it. Excellent play. Coming off the edge again. I think Boyer did a really good job with his blitzes in this game. I know the blitz just hasn't been as effective this year as years past, but this game he took advantage, of the Jets being hurt O-linemen. They were down 3 guys. The communication they bring, basically, you see the center. Once the center's first step is to the right, he looks to the right. That means they're sliding this half to the right here. And once this happens, Duke Riley's going to drop, and then they're going to bring 3 guys from this side. Davis to occupy the guard, Chubb to occupy the tackle, and then this gives a free lane to Holland. They try to throw the hop behind it. He gets his hands up. Very high IQ play from Holland. Excellent call there from Boyer as well. Then the very next play, a 3rd and 11. This was Mike McDaniel's first challenge won on the season, which was a huge one because they get the pressure very quickly. They bring, a lot of it, and they're right here. They have Kohu. They're bracketing Garrett Wilson. So they have Kohu with outside leverage, Holland playing to the inside, bracket on Garrett Wilson, and he does actually a good job of creating enough separation, getting back to the ball, and Flacco actually makes a really good throw based on how quickly he was under pressure and on the bracket coverage here. Baker on him, Phillips on him, and he puts it low, only where Wilson has a chance to make a play at the catch point, but they call catch on the field. McDaniel finally wins that challenge here. Look at Baker embarrassed this running back here. Really impressive play. Like, if Baker does stick to the team, this will be why he's a very good blitzer for an off-ball linebacker. That's definitely where his main strength lies. Obviously, with draft season coming up, I'm going to have a lot of videos on the draft on guys who they can add, free agency. I think off-ball linebacker is one of those positions they definitely need to upgrade at. Hopefully, Tyndall can make a step up for next year to be one of the starters. But right here, specifically, Mike McDaniel. Great challenge. This ball hits the ground. These are where catches. If the ball moves at all when it hits the ground or your hands move and hits the ground, those are incompletions 100% nowadays. So throwing the challenge flag, who's ever in the air up top usually hasn't been good, but right here it works for the team. This play right here was game changing because it was still tied at this point, and this pretty much ends their drive here because they get called for intentional grounding at this point. And the Dolphins bring pressure on a 1st and 10 off play action. They instantly are able to get him. Look at Wilkins beat this guard quickly. He hits him with that hard step to the inside and then, hits the swim move over the top, gets the hand to the back, and that forces him to escape the pocket. Van Ginkel's there, and he just throws it away. And basically, where 70 is right now, if Flacco gets outside of that, which he probably does, it's very close. This could have been called not intentional grounding because of him being outside the pocket, and it's very close. But they did call it, and that makes it 2nd and 24. And then after that, I'm not going to show it, but it's just 2 dump-off plays, and then they punt, and then the Dolphins take the lead the next drive. Last drive of the game, basically the Jets just chucking it up on these first 2 plays to Garrett Wilson. Howard does a great job gaining depth. The Dolphins are basically playing prevent, and they're running cover 2, but they're having their corners gain a lot of depth, so it almost becomes like a quarters type look. But they're just having them play very soft. He takes this away, taking away the sideline. Thank God they weren't calling pass interference there. Jets receivers wanted it, but he puts himself in a great position to make a play at the catch point. This was, probably Howard's best 2 plays in the game. The next play, they try to do another similar concept, but this time they try to get to Howard's backside where he can make a play right here, give Wilson a better chance, put him in the blind spot of Howard, but he stays over the top this time, reading Flacco the whole time, and makes a great play at the catch point. And then after this, it just becomes laterals. Shout out Jason Sanders, by the way. Got a lot of hate this season. People wanted him cut, and then he stepped up big time for the Dolphins to win this game. So shout out Jason. Not really going to break this play down, the last play of the game, just because, it's a lateral fest, but just want to talk over it. Dolphins defense wasn't great this season, but they didn't give up a ton of points towards the end of the season. They gave up a lot of points early on, especially like in the AFC. I think they were like the second most points against for a lot of this year. But later on, the defense did step up, not giving up a ton of points. Right here, they actually get a safety to end this game. I don't know if a lot of people knew that, but they played with a lot of effort. They helped get this team to the playoffs with Tua hurt. Like, I don't even know the last time the Dolphins won with Tua not playing. Like, they need Tua to usually win. They really need him back versus the Bills. They pretty much don't stand a chance with Skylar at the quarterback position. Like, Skylar did enough. Like, he played pretty bad, but he didn't have any major turnovers. Like, against Patriots, Teddy had that pick 6, which hurt them to win. And then this time, Dolphins defense steps up, gets them this victory, holds the Jets to only 3 field goals. It was an impressive game from them. They were bending but not breaking. The third downs were another big part of this game because they were converting them like pretty 50-50 for the most part. It was back and forth, but the Dolphins defense won in the end. So really proud of this unit stepping up after a tough year to help propel the Dolphins to a playoff berth, the first one in quite some time. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.